Ebusiafo ne adɔfo mu nyina kwa ba biem. Ɛsɛ wa wo hwe a won subscribe bomodin asa be subscribe no ahya ma onua so yede enye bi ti no so keep updated. Yes, obedi mfe ni chim ne yen ka de wo nchirman. Sabi ya tufa de ni achim o Parliament House. The why she pa eye Afenyo marking and nkrofo asori. Quite unfortunately no, these people are saying say Mahama and the Galamsey aba. Mahama mum na sense asmo. Ya reho sempa. Now this situation ama John Mahama take some action bia. A bit ma clear all the Galamsey menace ni nyina de efri ho ama yen swati ama yen nuane because as we speak no bit ma grow in agrika or se unsu wasase ye kama with Galamsey untimin grow ye. Now we and I just say person will lay some law against Galamsey NPP for someone say Afenyo marking akasa majority leader kasa na we no Haruna Drisu amfa Afenyo marking NPP MPs for no one chomokra yen couldn't quit in some of the tudua and they said you're fighting my John Dramani Mahama in Parliament.
I shall pray you to place the application on ice for now and rather direct that the minister goes through what has become known as a pre-laying ritual so that after that the laying is done. Mr. Speaker, you can give them 14 days, 7 days, whatever, as it pleases the minister to allow for that consultation to be done. That said, I am in principle in support of all steps that government intends to take to ensure that we preserve our forests and we deny some of those illegalities going on in our forests. Because I know that this issue of Galamsey, if not well addressed, it would lead this country to a place we don't want to go. And even so, some of these illegalities are getting into legally acquired mining concessions. And once these investors get affected and they lose their investment, they would see it as a breach of the law. And the state then become a victim because they will sue in arbitration. And it will mean that government of Ghana would have to cough for monies lost. So, Mr. Speaker, if government wants to walk the talk, I am all for it. Save that I've given my reasons under the circumstance. I appreciate the opportunity.
Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, I've listened to the minority leader and the majority leader, and they are both referring to Article 11. Mr. Speaker, on the matter of Article 11, it's a real train. The only power of Parliament, maybe Honorable Whip help me, I want to quote the exact words, is to by a 2/3 resolution. So, Mr. Speaker, may I refer to Article 11(7)(c), come into force at the expiration of 21 sitting days after being so late, unless Parliament, before the expiration of the 21 days, announce the order, rule, or regulation by the vote of not less than 2/3 or all the members of Parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, by practice, it will be law even without Parliament taking a decision. Once a report is made, sometimes even the report is not brought before us. Once the minister lays the report, as he is doing, and the majority leader have urged you to allow him to lay it, because, Mr. Minority Leader, the president is responding to a national emergency of a crisis in Galamsey, and he is determined to say that take off my authority and mandate as president, so that the power to grant it is not. Mr. Speaker, This is what the president is seeking to do. Maybe let me provide further information. I see the former minister trying, but seek to be recognized by the speaker. But Mr. Speaker, I was a member of the Environment Committee of Parliament. And when the EPA, my chairman is here with Dr. Mafu, you remember, Dr. Mafu belonged to this side of the house. He presided over the meeting, which made recommendations that this should be the position of government. So you can call Dr. Mafu and find out. He was then chairman of the Environment Committee, chaired by the Honorable Taylor Labe. We met over some matters in relation to it. Then they advised us, EPA. It was the advice of the EPA that please, these regulations, I think the Attorney General came to work on it, that the Attorney General have laid is wrong. It is not best and good for the country. So, Mr. Speaker, what the majority leader is saying is that, yes, if it is a matter you want to do pre-consultation, he says it's one clause, one off. What consultation? I'm taking off a power and a mandate. This house is just there that I think that this house was not going to have any opportunity to say we are voting. Save today he has the numbers as majority leader, so he's the only person who can marshal a 2/3 and say no, annul this instrument. But let's not get there. The matter of Galamsey is a matter for which this country must build consensus because it's affecting livelihoods, it's affecting the future sustainability of our country. And I do not think that this should tear our heads where the majority leader have led. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that is proper that the minister lays it. Then we count the mandatory 21 days after which effectively it becomes law. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Samuel Jinoko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the position of the minority leader, Mr. Speaker, on the need for some pre-laying procedure. And Mr. Speaker, the point about this provision being a one-clause provision, Mr. Speaker, really, if you look at the national constitution and you look at the provision of the constitution which vests all mineral rights in the president, Mr. Speaker, and you look at other statutory interventions, Mr. Speaker, the previous government, I had the privilege of being minister. The previous government announced publicly, the Attorney General actually took steps in the course of the 8th Parliament to effect this same amendment. But, Mr. Speaker, the point is, the need for this pre-laying is all because the submissions made by the Honorable Majority Leader and the Honorable Minister for Education, Mr. Speaker, in some respects, does not contextualize the issue because the President has the right under the national constitution, under statute, to exercise a discretion for mining to take place in a forest reserve. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, the 18th of March, Tuesday, mining is happening almost in all the forest reserves of our country. Today. Mr. Speaker, today. Mr. Speaker, the coalition against Galamsey, led by the venerable, respected Ken Ashibe, has actually come out with a report about how political party kingpins, believing that their party have won power, taking over the forest reserves of our country. Mr. Speaker, so what is the point I'm making? Mr. Speaker, the point I'm making, Mr. Speaker, the point, and of course, Mr. Speaker, in these matters, look, Mr. Speaker, we can have this debate here. The majority leader and others can dispute it. I've been Minister for Lands before. I made my modest attempt in contributing to the fight against Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, the only thing that can prevent the fight against Galamsey is a lack of candor. If anybody stands here and says that
political party kingpins have not taken over forest reserves and are mining. Let's say it, and let's give ourselves 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and we'll see where Galamsey will be. Let us, Mr. Speaker, let us accept the truth. And let's be honest about what is happening today. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that.
Conclude. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, this is a one-clause instrument, just one clause amendment to the regulations, which simply withdraws the powers of the president. Mr. Speaker, there is consensus across the country that this is a matter that should be done. We don't think that any stakeholder engagements will change anything. It is a commitment that this government made to Ghanaians, this president made to Ghanaians, that this power granted to presidents to allow mining in forest reserves, I don't want it. It should be taken away. And he has instructed his minister to come and lay the instrument that takes away the power. Mr. Speaker, there is nothing to discuss about this. A power granted, somebody says, I don't want to exercise the power. Take it away so that I'm not tempted to exercise it. Why do you want to tempt him? Why do you want to keep the law in place? Even by 1 day, why do you want to keep the law in place? Mr. Speaker, we are already here. And we are clearly not breaching any provision of the Constitution. As he said, it's a practice that we evolved so that when we are in a corner, we can wriggle our way out of it. But in this case, we are very confident about what we are doing. We are clear about the matter, that the president doesn't want the power. He wants it taken away. He doesn't want any money in forest reserves. And he doesn't want the law to stay any additional day beyond where it is now. So, Mr. Speaker, let us lay it. If the committee meets, and then the committee thinks that there should be a revision, they can come here. But I'm assuring you that this side of the House is clear on the matter. I will not vote for any motion, any attempt to change anything in the regulations that are being laid. So, Mr. Speaker, let's lay it and then let's move on. We don't need any pre-laying ceremony in a matter that we are all clear on.
Honourable Minister.
I wish I for unity a yenema aircoso. Yara Hosam. Say Abujinapo. This MP. And an baby dream. Last 3 months, ya land and natural resources no. Now on a minister. Ni pay soon tete. Say deformities kosoro. Kidney failure kosoro. Insu say. Niane say. Ama even crampono. Intimi crampono sporting niane because of the common say Ghana. A year Galamsey. A year chemicals are the good. A dear Galamsey a beauty Newz. Ama be dead this crampo says alleged. Say presidency or no or more crane ni su nenom or mon pegana dear because they know say a year chemicals room under your government akofado. And no it menya no kasa say Mahama na sensasi NDC a year big men politicians and a rug a year forest reserve is a sensasi. These people no o kasa no we nya botra obekanse bebre because for the look of things no e can me say omunnim fere omunnim say omunnim adekro posterity omunnim adekro karma omunnim adekro ade friend no yenya oman yi no omunnim adekro omudie nyina se de bia power and stay NPP na ewo in power NPP enye Kesi ensin Ghana omomon pai bo nyina no NPP enye akono ensin Ghana na more person NPP akono and some person with Ghana so does it make sense? You people are destroying Ghana. Selfish interest in tinhwe be o man na kwakudu masa o man pasa yes to no munya no sad kasa eno na ebi modwen homonti ase no. That is the reason sometimes the suboni be ebo Mahama ne nkrofo because you people it's me a figure p a great figure maybe $10.7 million. No more EAP. Must say this ministry, this sector, ayera, and so ni pane wo. Inti ayera na ni pane hwe so no. How many say mo bisa no? Accountability na mo kan wasan. Enva ni free. Mo jeja nkrofo we saa no mo nam no mo kasa ade na mo maye na ase no. Ise mo pia ni nyina egu mo so. No mo pia ni nyina egu mo so. Yenim de ntia o. Ya dwen ho yenim de ntia. Krofo a wo say mo ma accountability na edi omo no. Omo mo magya omo. Eno mo pia mess ni sika ayira niam mo hu anu nyina no. Omo pia saa mess ni nyina egu mo so. Na mo zo muntimi nkasa because all can dey. So a lot of people are saying, Mahama, John Dramani Mahama, president. Yes, sir. Mwana mo can say moba or more ma for mine Japan, mo bechi. Mo beji sikama ye hushi. Ora the report, ora the report, a brow actual source of the report to ABBA, we audience would be taken to court. Ye hushi. Then a CDN koso. Commercial case ba kumenu biase na aka so her report ni nyina mo esidi ada benda ahwe ba kumenu de ko na muteki action ba kumenu de ko no bi so hwe achima. That's the reason why our deputy no we are talking about the age. So right now John Dramani Mahama kan yeme bitimi aboama Galamsey yesi ano NPP for ko apai ade na yesi ano mo na mo say this party move for na Galamsey no yesi ano mo se debi. Look at the report I hear Professor Afenyo by and you people are saying it's John Dramani Mahama and then Nkrofo Galamsey. Mon ferry adie. Mon ferry fee. I didn't know some years. So ho and I hearing a juice sorry ni nyina hu niema o catch the minority Afenyo mark and Abuja na Bonen and Nkrofo. So this is the time I was here stop it those menace no. Galamsey was here stop it because we need any argument be a winning debate because they are Ghana for any brain. Yet me I didn't solution in any nam home, near nam solution no one for so be any solution no father another boom say pay na say what's of it. A benena mosa na 4 years aba. Yana mosa na 4 years aba. Yes baby easy. Tin se me bra Afenyo sorry hearing a dress ne ninu animo kan a cheso mo yeden omo de kwahye Afenyo market ne nsem no subscribe na share ma oni asere enye binti Akroma.